Well, y'all, we made it. Cheers, y'all. How's it going? We made it through Hell Week. We came out on the other side okay, and something else monumental happened over the weekend. I put out the call. Y'all made it happen. I am officially over the 1,000 subscriber threshold. It has been a long grind since I first started making videos on this channel, but I have loved every minute of it. It has been a blast. I've certainly learned a ton along the way, and I will have a more formal celebratory video coming out shortly. The logistics of it are taking a little bit longer to come together than I thought, but ultimately I am just so excited to be across the threshold and to see how far we can continue to go. So thank you all again for joining me on this journey. And now let's jump into the other accomplishment of this week, which was just surviving the week. If you watched my video last week introing this sort of hell week that was coming, I just had a brutal week of training, a lot of back-to-back runs, some high-intensity runs, capping it off with one extremely intense run which took place yesterday morning. I am certainly a little more tired than I typically am, mentally and physically just a little bit drained, hence why the videos have kind of taken a pause, but made it through the week and happy to be back with a training update going through all of the details from last week. So kicking things off with Monday, per usual, Monday was a rest day, just relaxing, recovering mentally and physically, preparing myself for the week. Moving into Tuesday, which was the first run of the week. So Tuesday was an SSR run, 20-minute intervals at the SSR pace with 3-minute rest in between. Do that 3 times. The total run was 1 hour and 19 minutes and 31 seconds with warm-up included. Average pace overall was a 9-minute mile. Total distance was 8.83 miles. In terms of the splits themselves, my SSR pace for this run was hovering right around an 8-minute mile for those splits. If you watched my video introing kind of this hell week last week, I was actually supposed to have a lot more back-to-back-to-back runs, but had a few scheduling issues both with personal life and just other commitments going on, so had to space it out a little bit differently. So Wednesday ended up being a rest day, and then we got back to running on Thursday. So Thursday, nothing too crazy, just a 90-minute endurance run, or what was supposed to be a 90-minute endurance run. Had to flex this a little bit. I got randomly selected for a mandatory COVID test at my office. I'm still working remotely, but they do these kind of random selections for people who have to get tested. Had to go into the office just to get tested. So I actually decided to go for a run in the morning and use my office as sort of the halfway point on the run, and then turn around and run home to actually start working for the day. Ended up cutting it slightly short, so only got in 1 hour and 16 minutes just because of how timing worked and actually needing to get back home in time to log in for work for the day. But 1 hour and 16 minutes, 9:25 mile pace, 8.09 miles total for that day. That was actually nice because I was staying in Manhattan Wednesday night into Thursday, so I got to run around Central Park. A nice change of scenery for my morning run. Then we move into Friday, which was a recovery run day. I actually haven't had a ton of recovery paces recently, so this felt really nice. 45-minute recovery run. I knew that wasn't going to be like physically exhausting or challenging. My recovery pace for 45 minutes was a 10:58 mile, almost an 11-minute mile. Again, very comfortable, very relaxed, 4.11 miles total. Then Saturday, my coach changed things up a little bit. I've been doing a lot of kind of these endurance and steady state running paces, no real speed efforts. So we mixed in a little bit of speed, nothing too crazy, but this was 7 1-kilometer repeats, but the way that they worked was each repeat I had a total of 6 minutes to complete that interval. So I would run the kilometer, and however long it took me, whatever was left in that 6-minute interval was my rest period. So if it took me 5 minutes to run the kilometer, then I had 1 minute to rest afterwards. For me, I was right around a 7-minute mile pace during those kilometer sprints, which gave me a little over a minute each time to recover in preparation for the next interval. It felt nice to get some speed work in. It felt good to wear those Pumas for some nice faster effort runs. If you didn't see my review of those carbon plated shoes, I'm having a lot of fun in them and just really looking forward to putting more speed efforts on those shoes since that's what they're built for. Ultimately, that run took 53 minutes and 53 seconds, an 8:50 mile overall pace for the entire run. Total distance was 6.1 miles. And this is where things got a little bit interesting in terms of my overall energy levels. Woke up early Saturday morning to get that run done, and then my wife and I were actually invited to 3 separate weddings on Saturday. Timing wise, we couldn't make it work to attend all three, but we were able to attend 2 out of 3 of those weddings, ultimately ending up upstate for the second wedding, staying over there overnight. So Sunday ended up being another rest day. And then for the first time in I don't know how long, I actually completed another run Monday morning. So I am including Monday as part of this weekly training update. Since the week started on Tuesday, it was sort of a Tuesday to Monday week, still falls within a week period, so hopefully you'll bear with me. But Monday was the pinnacle effort run to end this massive training block preparing for Mohican 100. I think it's safe to say I'm in the taper zone now, the taper period. Monday's run was actually 2 separate runs, the goals of which were sort of to simulate the exhaustion that I was going to be feeling towards those later miles at the Mohican 100 miler. So that's also why my mileage last week was kind of a lot of runs stacked back to back to back. Again, just building up that muscle fatigue to just sort of simulate that, get more comfortable in that sort of zone. What the goal was wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning so that I was truly exhausted, run for 2.5 hours, come back home, take like a 30-45 minute nap, again, just to let that fatigue set in, let those muscles stiffen up a little bit, wake up again, probably more tired at this point, go out for an additional 90-minute run. Both runs at endurance pace, so not pushing the pace too crazy, but obviously a beast of an effort, 4 hours running in total, starting very, very early in the morning, completing all 4 hours of running before starting work at 9 a.m. Sunday night, just made sure to lay out everything I could possibly need, pre-made some quesadillas to take with me on the run, pre-made my coffee, just had everything set so it was easy to just wake up, robotically get ready, and just get out the door on that run. And that worked pretty well. I was up at 3, out the door by about 3:45 for that initial 2.5 hour endurance run. The run itself wasn't too bad, so it was 2.5 hours, 2 hours, 30 minutes and 5 seconds at a 9:53 pace overall. I was also stopping every 30 minutes to take a walk break to just eat some food. Again, still training my body to take in those real food calories during the run. Total distance for that run was 15.18 miles. I will say, it was certainly very eerie being out running that early in the morning. The only other time I've done something like that was during the David Goggins challenge, where waking up every 4 hours to go for a run, definitely run during some weird times at night. It was just very, very quiet. Anytime I did see a person, I was like, are you just productive and going to work, or are you some weirdo that's out here at 3 o'clock in the morning? So interesting playing that game along the run, but didn't see too many people. By the end of that run, the sun was rising. It was a beautiful sunrise, nice way to start the day. But then getting back here after that run, laid out a bunch of towels on the couch so that I didn't get it all sweated up, and then just laid down and very quickly passed out. 45-minute nap, up again, restock the fuel, restock the noon, back out on a 90-minute endurance run, 1 hour, 30 minutes and 2 seconds at a 9:24 per mile pace. Picked up the pace a little bit on this one. Honestly, I was surprised at how good I was feeling on this run. I was expecting to feel a lot groggier, a lot slower, especially mentally, and mentally I was pretty awake. It might have had to do with I brought caffeinated noon with me on the run, which maybe helped perk me up a little bit, but even just waking up from the nap and getting out on the run, I didn't feel too bad. My legs certainly felt fatigued and just kind of heavy and sluggish, especially for that first mile or two, but they also started to loosen up pretty well. So I felt comfortable running at a little bit quicker of a pace, continued to eat those quesadillas, that real food to continue practicing that calorie intake, but 9.58 miles total on that run. So I would consider it a huge success, and ultimately not as bad as I was expecting, which I think is a good thing, because hopefully that means that I was just more prepared than I was expecting to be. So hopefully that pays off transitioning into Mohican. But a lot of miles this past week, 51.89 miles total for the week. Almost half of those miles taking place just yesterday. The Monday morning runs totaled 24.76 miles overall. Again, all taking place before starting work at 9 o'clock. So a busy morning, an exhausting day, but I made it through this final brutal week of training and can hopefully now enjoy the taper in preparation for Mohican. I cannot believe how quickly this race is approaching, but ultimately feeling a lot better at this moment than I was after immediately finishing the 4-stage challenge. I think the training paid off, kind of focusing on key areas, that strength training, those longer endurance effort runs. Very excited about the next week and a half, and just can't believe that we will be on the road to Ohio in a little over a week to get ready for this race. So thank you for tuning in for the training update. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to put those down in the comments below. Everything's feeling like it's falling into place, and Now we just got to trust the training and get out there and start running the race. So thank you as always for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.